Well, I got that first piston done. Sorry I didn't video any of the cutting in the back because I had to move some numbers around being I had messed up. But I'll film the next one, the second one. I will video it. It's in the motor here. And the clearances look really close, but it makes it on the back side here. I put it where it belongs. We've got between the rod and the cylinder, probably got about maybe 30 thou. It's close. It's close at the top and the bottom, but that's fine. It's good enough. Good enough. So the next one, I hope to hit the numbers, and then I'll video the back side of it. I'm not going to video turning it because you've seen that. You've seen how I screwed up on that one, but you've seen the basic concept: turn, parting blade, move 10th thou. So that part you kind of seen. So I'll video the pocket in the back on the next one, hopefully, and we'll take her from there. So first one done, and then when I get these pistons done, then it'll be the rings. Well, actually, I'll put the pin in because right now I've got a dowel pin in there, and what I'm going to do is I'll put a cold rolled steel pin in there and 2 Teflon plugs on the ends of the pin. So you know, put a pin in here, and then a Teflon plug and a Teflon plug. And that way, you know, the Teflon plug will only be like 100 thou thick, and it just pop them in there. That keeps the pin from rubbing on the cylinder, and I haven't had any trouble with any of them that I've done that way, so I'm going to continue to do it that way. That way you don't have to put a set screw or some way of retaining that pin, because that pin really doesn't have to be retained as long as it doesn't come out and rub against the cylinder wall, and it won't if with a Teflon plug in there. So anyway, I better quit jabbering and go make the second one. I'll be back. Okay, I have the next one ready, and the only thing I've done in the inside is I bored that, and then I took a 5/16 end mill to the depth that I want for the connecting rod clearance for the connecting rod. So what I'm just going to do is just going to put it in a collet block, and I'm going to put it just beyond the last ring, compression ring groove. And I'm going to tighten it up. Tighten it up good and solid. We're just going to stand it up in there. And I'm going to put an indicator in there and dial that in. Change the collets. And I haven't moved my Y, I don't believe on the readout, so it should get me close. So if I go over my mirror. Off on X a little bit. Actually about 2¼ noses. Nope. Keep going back and forth with the mark I want. There we go. Okay, that's it right there. Go dialed in, zero my readout. And now we're going to go in and cut the slot in there. And we're going to use a 1/4 inch 2-flute carbide end mill. Change collets. Now the depth is already set, so I can go down and touch that depth and set my stop. Set that depth on the lathe when I went in with a 5/16 end mill, so I should be able to just go down and set my stop. Set my stop. All right, we're ready. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just slowly move over and move up and down. I have figured out the numbers that I want to go to. The end of that is 3/8 in diameter, so I want to go 187 that way and then 187 the other way. That'll give me, with the center line, that'll give me clearance for that, for the wrist pin. So it's just a matter of plunging in, moving over, plunge in. Actually, I'm going to allow for a radius on that, so I'm going to go 120 on the over. And I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. That was this way, now we're going to move that way. I'm going to get the vacuum and vacuum that out. So now I got to move 62 and then 62 and mill that out to 5/16. I'm just going to go down in take it out. Is that right? 62? Yeah, it is 62. There's 62. Move back over to my 120. Slowly. After this, we're going to do piston rings. And then heat treat them. I'm just moving back and around, back and forth in the slot there, taking finished paths in there. Now I'll move the table in to the 62. Move back over the other way. Back to 0 on X. And back to 0 on Y. And we're going to come out of there. And that should be it for the slot. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it out of there. Kind of a wide slot, but that's fine. I wonder if I went a little too wide. Let me just check here quick. Well, not really. So now what I'm going to do is turn it 90 degrees, drop her down like this, and clamp it, and then I'm going to put my edge finder in. And we're going to drill the wrist pin hole, which is a 3/16. Put a 1/2 inch collet in there. In there. We'll tighten it. And we're going and then we want to touch off and go 5/15 toward the top of the piston. Turn my stop down here. Down there. Let's bring this out a little bit. It was up pretty far. Pretty much where I want it to be. I was just going to try to pull it out a little further, but it is out pretty much all the way. There we go. Now, over, touch. Right there. 0 my X. Move 100. And then move my 515. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15. Drill chuck in. The spot drill in, or center drill, and I'll go. For the center drill. We're on center, so go in a pretty good depth for that center drill, so the drill doesn't walk off from side to side. So I put pretty good center drill. Okay. Looking for my little oil pan. Well, sitting there. Funny how things can just disappear on you. Huh. It's the only place that I was using it. Well, I'll use my coolant bottle then, I guess. Next, I'll have to turn up some slugs to go in the end to hold the pin from marring the cylinder walls. Go and give it a little okay, so now all I got to do is take it out of there and we should be in business. There we go. I'll have to run a file or a stone over it to get the burrs, get rid of the burrs. Just and what I'll do is I'll put the pin in, the wrist pin in, And then there'll be probably a 50 thou wide slug, a Teflon, goes in on top of the pin on both sides. That way the Teflon rubs against the cylinder wall, if anything, and it won't hurt anything. Won't gall up, or it holds the pin into place. So that's pretty much it for the piston. I have the other one in place. I gotta get the all right. The other one is in place on this motor right here. So gotta get the rings put in, and a wrist pin. I'm not going to use the dowel. I'll put because all I have in there is a short dowel right now, and I'll have a cold roll steel pin to put in there, which is just a basic turning up a cold roll pin, and this one goes on here. And like I say, once I get them mounted in the Teflon slugs made, all I'm going to do is turn down 3/6. I might even have 3/16 diameter. I think I do, because I think I bought 3/16 diameter Teflon just for that, for wrist pins on these small motors. And then all I gotta do is just part it off, little slugs and put it in there. So I think that's it for the pistons, and until we get the rings. Oh, when I come to make the rings too, I am going to I'll take a feeler gauge and find out what width a feeler gauge slides into the groove nicely. They should all be the same, but we'll check. And when I make the cast iron rings, naturally I want them to fit tight, so that I have room to lap them a little bit. So, because I'll lap them, and then put them in place. I'll heat treat them, lap them, and then I'll put them in the cylinder to size them, because they'll have to be sized with an end gap. When I turn up the diameters for the rings, I take and I figure out the circumference of the 3/4 inch diameter that I want, get the circumference number, take the width of my slitting saw, add that to the circumference, and then convert it back into diameter, and that'll give me the OD and the ID of the ring, after I slit it. And that way, theoretically, the ring would be, the ends would be butted up against each other, and it would be the perfect size. So that's how I do my rings. I've always done them that way. I know that people just snap them, and then they don't have to worry about figuring out them diameters. But to me, it only takes a second to figure out those diameters, and I'm not comfortable just snapping them. I'd rather just cut them. I get a nice square cut, and then it's done. It's a done deal. So anyway, enough jabbering. I'm going to go and probably, what was I going to do? Oh, turn up the pins and the slugs, the Teflon slugs. And when I get ready to make the rings, I will come back and I'll show you the process. I got the cast iron laying there. It's nodular. It's called nodular cast iron. There's two different types of well, there are probably more than just two different, but there's two main types of cast iron. Nodular has round molecules, where the other type, and I'm not even sure what it's called, but that has a flake molecules. They're flakes. So the nodular has a stronger yield strength than the flakes. So they're a little tougher. They'll take a little more bending or springing, and they don't break as easy on you. If you use flake material, sometimes you have a tough time even getting your ring on without breaking them. So, because the yield strength is too low. So, just what I've come across and have read that, you know, the nodular stuff is the stuff that they use for piston rings. So, all right, well, I better go. I'm gonna go bake some pins. We'll be back. Okay, I turned up 2 pins and 4 plugs. And how they'll go is this will go this will go over on the rod, and before I put it on the rod, I'll even put 1 plug in on one side. Just push it in, and it'll go on the connecting rod, and the wrist pin will go through. It's a slip fit, and then take another plug and stick it on the other side, just like that. And that way they don't have to be press fit. They're a nice slip fit, and they can't come out. If they do ride out, they'll go up against the cylinder wall, and it won't hurt a thing. The Teflon won't hurt anything. So that's how I'm going to do it anyway. And like I say, this piston isn't the same as what's in the plans. It's my own concoction, so we'll see how it works. So now I'm ready to make piston rings. I need to switch over from my 5C collet to 3-jaw, and then we'll turn up some piston rings. Once I get it switched over, I got to clean it up first, the lathe, and then we'll switch over to the 3-jaw, and then I'll be back.